up, we got the joke is on Ari Shaffir. Pat CC. I kind of enjoy Ari Shaffir. Sometimes he be wildin' though. Sometimes he really be wildin' though, especially like the time when he drugged Bert Kreischer and he had a bunch of stuff. That was wild. If the homie drugs me, we got issues. But let's see what Pat CC's about to learn us.
Ari Shaffir is an unapologetically edgy, crass, and shocking comedian who refuses to be silenced no matter how much backlash he gets. Unsurprisingly, many see him as a disgusting bully, whereas others see him as almost a saving grace for comedy.
He's not a disgusting bully. If you think he's a disgusting bully, there's only one word to call you, and it's a pussy. That's the word. It's you're a pussy. No, he's not a disgusting bully. He's a comedian. You can't take jokes. Sometimes he goes too far, but all comedians go too far. You don't get to see their shop work.
Based on the idea that comedians should be able to say anything they want, that no topic, no matter how controversial, is off limits while delivering jokes. With podcasts becoming more and more popular, the line between jokes and reality is almost non-existent. As they broadcast thousands of hours of unfiltered conversations, they slowly expose their reality behind the act. Over the past decade, Ari has acted on and openly admitted to suspicious behavior that now even his fans are starting to feel uneasy about. Ari Shaffir was born in New York City but raised in North Carolina into a Jewish family of Romanian Jewish descent. His father was a Holocaust survivor, which is why Ari was essentially exiled from his family after he told his father he lost his faith in Judaism.
Did you talk to your parents about it?
Yeah, I came out of the closet.
Okay.
As it
How
were.
did that go?
Not that great. My father said it was lower than a dog.
Oh, damn.
A dog believes in God.
Ari grew up watching shows like Live from the Laugh Factory
Lower than
and
a
Johnny
dog.
Carson, dreaming
That's
of doing
fucked up from
stand-up
your own
himself
dad.
one day. He graduated college, turned 25 years old, and decided it was time to move to Los Angeles and
Ain't no
finally
other way
give
to put
himself a
that.
shot at his dream. He applied to the iconic Laugh Factory, who at the time was hosting acts like Bob Saget, Adam Sandler, Jimmy Fallon, and Roseanne, just to name a few. On his way to the factory, he drove past the Comedy Store, a smaller club that he was unfamiliar with. Ari decided he would just toss in an application there, where he eventually got his first job answering the phones. Mitzi Shore, the renowned owner of the Comedy Store, would advise Ari on his comedy showcases.
I've actually
anything
never
let
seen
him
a
work
picture of her, but I've heard Joe Rogan and all those comedians all talk about her a lot.
the doors so he could watch other comedians and learn from them. Ari sat and watched emerging talents such as Joe Rogan,
Like you
Joey
said, imagine
Diaz,
bro
Bobby
turned
Lee,
Muslim.
and Sebastian Maniscalco dominate the stage every night. After 4.5 years, Mitzi eventually made Ari a paid regular at the club. He was now officially a full-time stand-up comic, but needed to push the boundaries to compete with the all-stars that were emerging out of LA. Ari produced a short video series titled The Amazing Racist in 2004. The title was a spin on The Amazing Race, and Ari is acting in a manner which is overtly and ironically racist. The show was featured on National Lampoon's Lost Reality, a DVD compilation of reality shows and episodes that networks wouldn't dare to.
I have to see this. I've never heard of this. I have to watch. I've heard of that last thing. I have to watch this. I don't think I've ever heard of this. What? Instantly.
Ari wouldn't gain much traction from this until years after YouTube launched. Fans of the skits were going viral after uploading bits they ripped from the DVD.
Oh shit!
Sorry, boy. Man, it's hotter in Africa out there. What's up, Fat Albert? I need a couple lighters. You walk around with that shit on. You want a motherfucking lighter from this? Do you know what you are? Today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the lowest of the low. Mexicans. Let's go. Let's go sneak in the kitchen, see who we can with. You working hard over here? All right. Hey. No, it's okay. Go ahead. It's wet. It's okay. Get that. Don't work so hard. Take a break. Take a siesta. Come on. It's not a big deal. Just lie down. Oh.
This is stupid.
I know you have
This is dumb.
Where do you keep them?
It seems like some of the bits feature paid actors who poorly react to Ari's behavior.
Definitely.
Especially when you consider the multiple different perfect camera angles which are often in front of the subject's face. Although The Amazing Racist was a less funny and less creative version of The Chappelle Show, the desire for Americans to indulge in racist humor was apparently very strong, because Ari was approached by fellow comedian Vince Offer to do a reboot of The Amazing Racist in 2013. Vince Offer, who many know as the ShamWow guy, was producing a movie called called Inappropriate Comedy, which starred Michelle Rodriguez, Lindsay Lohan, and Oscar winner Adrian Brody. Ari had a larger budget this time around, which he didn't spend on a team to write better jokes, but rather costumes and gimmicks to enhance the same surface-level stereotypes.
Can I interest you guys in a boat ride? We're giving away free boat rides today. We're trying to get, what do you guys call yourself, African Americans to back to Africa. You know, where you're from.
Man, I'm from here. What the hell are you talking about?
We got you lots of American jobs where you can eat the corn and the stick, and you save up money, dinero, you buy a lowrider, just so you can ruin the neighborhood. Bring puppy about
This was fucking dumb.
It's down.
He's so dumb. Bro is the first. Nah, the first mic'd up person is
I got one for you, bro. Where's my bounty? Sir, don't get out.
Tom Green. There we go, Mark Easy. Tom Green. There we go. Tom Green. That's it. Tom Green's the first mic'd up.
Woo,
He might be second
Just like
though.
the National Lampoon lost reality movie.
Him or
clips
Andy
from the
Milonakis.
Inappropriate Comedy movie.
Because he did the first one like 2003. Andy Milonakis started in like 01 or like 02 or something like that. And was that the late 90s? One of the two.
He would also be uploaded to YouTube.
Nah, I think it was the late
securing millions
90s.
of
That was
views
late
almost
90s when
every time.
It's just, you're
Milonakis,
driving
right?
really
Like
dangerous
95?
right now. Please, just try to concentrate on the road. Open your eyes.
I don't know if this is safe.
It's please, it's safer than having your eyes half closed. So that
Huh.
eye's way better, right? You can see better out of that eye now.
I guess so, yeah.
While some say these videos are just jokes featuring paid actors who signed waivers approving of the comedy, others, even as far as back as a decade, just couldn't find the humor in the blatant racism. Piggybacking off the momentum,
They're just
Ari
so
released his
dumb. No, it's like these videos. Like those ones are dumb. That shit's dumb.
first stand-up album, Revenge for the Holocaust,
But it's like
in
dumb
2012,
funny.
which reached #1 on the iTunes and Amazon comedy albums chart. Then he produced his first stand-up special, Passive Aggressive. Ari was respected by his comedy peers. One particular comedian, Joe Rogan, took a liking to him. In 2010, Joe invited Ari on the 3rd ever episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Ari was a guest in 9 of the first 100 episodes and became a pivotal member of the JRE community, which would eventually become the #1 podcast in the world. Slowly throughout the 2010s, comedians hosting podcasts became more and more common, since they all realized how Joe Rogan's stand-up audiences started increasing as his podcast became more popular. This would be the beginning of Ari showing his dark side. On an episode of Punch Drunk Sports, one of Ari's now defunct podcasts, he berated his employee and producer, known as The Fat Man, for accidentally making an error that led
Oh yeah, no, Ari is an asshole though. Lord, he is an asshole. He is an asshole. Like in person to other people, this nigga is an asshole.
to Ari not being able to take calls from viewers on the air.
We have the show. It was recorded. The audio is on. Fans can hear it. It was just, that was my fault.
But we couldn't do any of the calls we wanted for the 100 episodes.
Like you hit a switch that had big X on it and tape all around that said, "Do not touch this button. Never touch this button."
Okay, first of all, hold on.
Single notice, he wouldn't have done it. If you prepared it all, he wouldn't have done
There
it.
was notice on that thing. That thing
Saying
says
how
right
to
on
do
it.
it, saying how to take
It's
phone
really
calls.
dark down there. I
Always
couldn't see.
taped up.
Saying don't touch or actually how to do something. Not what not to do or what actually to do. Because he couldn't figure out what to do.
Telling someone what not to do is the same as telling him what to do. Do not do this. At the very least, do not ever.
And that's how we're
There's a
supposed to
big
take
X on
phone
the
calls for
button.
100th episode? That's how we're supposed to take phone calls? Do not do? That's supposed to help us?
That's the phone line. That was
You
not
asshole. I'm glad I never
He
learned
took
your
off-
name.
Ari continued to scold the man and let him know just how much he screwed up.
Hey,
Bruh.
Bruh. Go home. Get out and go home. Go take a smoke break for 2 hours. You're not wanted here. You're adding nothing. Go home.
Why does
I'm
his
not sorry
voice
that I'm
sound
hurting you.
like
Get
Tate?
the f- out of here.
I don't hear
Leave.
it.
Just leave if you're not going to help. Fix the f***ing phones or leave.
I got it. I got the show.
Are you fixing the phones?
man,
You got the
man.
show. All right, fat man, get out. You're just a distraction. Get the f***
I don't
out.
even know how to fix that.
All you do is give us bad drops. Get the f*** out or fix it. Are you moving to fix it or get out? It should be one or the other right now.
fix it.
Then
I've
get
tried
the f***
for a
out.
week.
Then go home. Get the f*** out and go home.
Judge a man by how
Damn.
he treats his subordinates, not his equals.
Facts.
However, this blow-up is a minor form of
He is an
aggression
asshole.
compared to the violent attack he committed on fellow comedian Bobby Lee many years later. But before we get into that, A word from today's sponsor, Rocket Money. The other day I wasted hours trying to cancel all of my subscription services. Luckily today's sponsor, Rocket Money, is here to help. Rocket Money is the personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and manage your money better. I'm using Rocket Money to cancel all those subscriptions I forgot about and just don't use anymore. Rocket Money identifies reoccurring charges and cancels them for you with just one tap. Rocket Money can also help you create your net worth by giving you a clear picture of all your assets in one place, including your cash, debts, investments, crypto, and retirement funds. Rocket Money has helped save its customers an average of $720 a year, with over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. To save more and spend less, join the over 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/PatrickCC or click the link in the description to get started for free. You can also unlock even more features with premium. That's rocketmoney.com/PatrickCC to get started for free. Ari's fame continued to slowly increase as he released his second special in 2015, Paid Regular, on Comedy Central. Then in 2017, he released Double Negative on Netflix, which consisted of 2 45-minute shows. And it was around 2017 where the Joe Rogan effect really started to blossom. Podcast comedians started to emerge from the deep corners of the internet to the mainstream. Tom Segura, Theo Vaughn, Brennan Shaw, Bert Kreischer, Bobby Lee, and so many others saw their viewership exponentially increase. In May of 2017, Bobby shared a brutal story of a few interactions with Ari Shaffir that seemed too vicious to be true, but it was. It all began when Bobby was performing at the Comedy Store one night, and fellow comedian Ron Peterson, who Bobby worked with on Mad TV at the time, came up and asked him a question.
Well, I was at the Comedy Store one night, and he goes, "Who's that on stage?" I go, "That's Natasha Leggero." He goes, "She's hot." I go, "Yeah, but she lives with Ari Shaffir." Ron Peterson goes, "All right." And then a couple hours later, I was driving him back to the hotel where we were staying at, and he goes, "I got her number." I go, "Yeah, but she's seeing my friend Ari." He's like, "Yeah, but she's gonna go on." So she starts like going to like plays with him, dinners.
What?
Back, right?
What?
And then out of nowhere, Ari calls me. "She left me, dude." I go, "Yeah, but," she goes, "You set them up."
Bobby didn't necessarily feel like he was doing anything wrong, but he did try to convince Ron that asking for Natasha's number was a bad idea. But Ari was irrational and emotional and gave
if you're supposed to be his homie, you're supposed to let him know, bruh.
Bobby an insane ultimatum.
"If you don't do this for me right now, this thing I'm going to ask you to do, I know that you set them up."
Whoa.
What was the thing?
Break into his office at Mad TV.
Yeah.
Go into his computer and steal the emails between Ron and
that's some intense
Natasha.
shit.
So I go, I can't break into his fucking office at Mad TV.
After refusing to commit the felony, Ari got violent.
So I go, "No, I'm not going to do that." And he goes, "Then you set them up." So that Friday, I show up at the Comedy Store, and I'm checking in at the front counter, and he punches me in the face.
Like for real punches you?
I fall to the ground, and he kicks me in the face like 20 times.
Damn!
Now I'm bleeding. But then as I get up, I hear my name being called.
On stage?
On stage. And I go up on stage.
And did you talk about it, or?
I only went up for 1 minute.
Yeah.
And I go, "That guy right there." You know what I mean? I'm bleeding from the face. He beat the shit out of me. You know what I mean? Like I called him out. "Ari Shaffir."
The club manager convinced Bobby
There's no video? Where the video? I need video of this.
that he shouldn't press charges and that Ari was just emotional, so Bobby obliged. Then the following week, he got assaulted again.
A week later, I'm walking down the hallway at the Comedy Store. He lunges at me, right? And he starts strangling me in the fucking hallway. And he's squeezing, and then my neck starts bleeding because he has his nails gouged into my neck.
But it didn't stop there. All while this conflict was going on, Ari Shaffir successfully secured a role on Carlos Mencia's Mind of Mencia show, which blended comedy skits and
Never
live
saw
stand-up.
that.
This would have been a pretty good gig for a comedian at the time. However, Carlos was out of town.
I don't think I've
and when
heard
he
of that.
returned, he heard about what happened to Bobby Lee. Mencia called up Ari, telling him that because he beat up Bobby, he will be removed from the show. In Ari's mind, Bobby was sabotaging first his personal life and now his comedy career, prompting him to attack Bobby yet
No, that's
again.
self-sabotage,
So
dog.
I show up at
This
the
is
Comedy Store
self-sabotage,
after he
Ari.
Gets fired from Mind of Mencia. Like I park the car, I close the door, I hear and then no running because he's in the air.
Huh?
The Superman punch?
Yeah. Superman punch. Pop! I fall to the ground, right? I just run straight to the office.
You need to be more alert. You need if you're just around here week after week getting popped up, bro. You need to be more alert. That's not, bro. Head on a swivel, dog. Head on a swivel.
Screaming.
Move out the way!
Because of this situation, Ari was banned from the Comedy Store, the club that kickstarted his whole career. For the next few years, Ari would bully Bobby
Threw his career away over a bitch.
any chance he could, calling him every sort of insult whenever they passed by each other. And for the longest time, Bobby could never get through to him that it wasn't his fault. It took 5 years for Ari to realize Bobby had nothing to do with it and that he was overly emotional, and they finally settled their fairly one-side beef. But then we learned that Bobby Lee kind of twisted the story a little bit. It turns out Ron Peterson was someone that Bobby needed to be friends with to help his career.
Up, Gavin?
And Bobby was actually calling Ari
How you
over
doing?
and
How
over
you
to
doing?
find out if him and Natasha were broken up, so that Ron could make his move. Additionally, when Ari first attacked Bobby, it was because Bobby was egging him on, getting in his face, and Ari gave him a fair warning.
And then I saw you at the store.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, dude, like, it hit me now where you were on this. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty mad. And you're like, and then the way you were smiling, like, can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing?
All
Let me
right.
just say one
Oh,
thing. And I was like,
God.
Bobby, get the away from me. Get
Yeah,
the away
and you
from
know
me.
what? I'll admit I did that.
And you're like, let me just say, I was like, I don't think you hitting, like, how much is this hurting me? You're like, let me just say one thing. I'm like, dude, get the away or I'm going to hit you. And then you kept doing it. And then I just punched you and you fell. So you didn't even give me the satisfaction of fighting back.
But you kicked me while I was down there.
Yeah, well, you were down.
Bobby twisted the story to make Ari
Yeah,
seem like a
facts.
total psychopath attacking people.
He does that all the time, though, from what it sounds like. There's been a multiple Bobby Lee stories that have been proven to be twisted, way warped perspective. There's been several times like that.
People unprovoked. But at the end of the day, Ari still violently unleashed his anger on a guy who had basically nothing to do with his girlfriend cheating on him. And you would think that as Shaffir got more famous, he would be more careful of what he says and does. But that couldn't be further from reality. On a 2018 episode of the Punch Drunk Sports podcast, Ari shared a very questionable story of him willingly exposing
Sometimes you gotta
himself
wait a
to
second for
minor.
stuff to load
I was
in.
at my friend's house. She's a lesbian, single mother. And she goes, I want to go to the bathroom. She goes, and she has a 5-year-old. She goes, can she watch your pee? Because she needs to see what a penis looks like.
What?
What? Yeah.
What?
She doesn't want the first penis she sees. Pee.
A 2018
What the-
episode
what
of the
happened?
Punch This, but
Well, how do we get there? How do we get there?
that couldn't be further from reality. On a 2018 episode of the Punch Drunk Sports podcast, Ari shared a very
Play some
questionable
GTA and
story
then-
of him willingly exposing himself to a minor.
I was at my friend's house. She's a lesbian, single mother. And she goes, I want to go to the bathroom. She goes, and she has a 5-year-old. She goes, can she watch your pee? Because she needs to see what a penis looks like before it's too.
What?
Yeah.
What?
She doesn't want the first penis she sees to be like the
The
first
one going into her mouth?
Yeah.
Dude, why would she choose yours?
I know. But this is what she said. She was like, why does it come out of that thing? And I was like,
Hold on. Oh, wait.
This nigga did it.
You let the kid watch you pee? I
Checking out
know. You
the
let the kid
website.
watch you pee? You gotta.
This is an issue. Put him in jail. This is a serious problem. I've never heard this story.
And I was like,
We got
Oh,
issues
wait,
now.
You let the kid watch you pee? I know. You let the kid watch you pee? You gotta start with the story. Where have you been with this? Did you let her shake it off?
No, but
He said he really just said he let a 5-year-old watch him pee. No.
then she went to touch it. I was like, crossing a line.
What?
Can't touch it.
How old?
Why was she close enough to touch it? Why was she? There's so many problems with this. Jail. Put him in jail. Put him in jail. I was with you with the jokes and all. This is an issue. It's a fucking issue.
Hold on.
Even a bunch of edgy comedians are listening to this story in total shock and keep asking him over and over if this is fake. But Ari reassures everyone that this was a true story. If that's the story Ari told, you know it's probably worse.
Yeah.
You just let a 5-year-old watch you pee? Yeah, right. Where is Chris Hansen when you need him? With Ari being so reckless with his words, it was only a matter of time before he crossed a line that would have serious ramifications. And he did that on January 26th, 2020. The day
Kobe.
NBA legend Kobe Bryant died along
Ari
with his
Shaffir.
13-year-old daughter Gianna when their private helicopter suddenly failed, crashing into the Santa Monica Mountains. When the news broke, the entire world was in shock. Kobe is one of the best basketball players of all time.
Oh,
Plus,
who's
he was
Cat
a family man
Williams?
who gave back to underserved communities just as much as he gave to the NBA. While millions were mourning the loss of the legend, tweeting their raw emotions, Ari's take erupted with backlash.
He's an OG.
4 hours after the reports of the death of Kobe and Gigi, Ari posted a tweet reading, Kobe Bryant died 23 years too late today. He got away with grape because all Kobe Bryant died 23 years too late today. He got away with grape because all the Hollywood liberals who attack comedy enjoy rooting for the Lakers more than they dislike R-word. Big ups to the hero who forgot to—
He said it the first time. Bro, did he just forget he said it the first time and then didn't say it the second time?
to gas up his chopper. I hate the Lakers. What a great day. F the Lakers. After catching a huge wave of criticism from his tweet, he shortly doubled down with a video.
As I know, there's always a lot of hate, pain in the world, and there's always a bunch of terrible stories. And every once in a while, there's a good story. A good story comes out. The guy who got away with got his today. Kobe Bryant is gone. I'm here in Charlotte, the home of the team that originally drafted him.
Ari's
maybe
dumb.
that chick in Denver if he had stayed in Charlotte with the Hornets.
Most people had no idea who Ari Shaffir was. Now he was known as the guy who mocked Kobe Bryant's death. The comedy community addressed his comments.
You know, there were children that died. And so you can't, it's just, that's too much to joke about. It's too much.
Yeah.
I was like, it's too much.
Doing f***ed up jokes, I don't judge you. But the nastiness in that video hours after this.
Yeah, because it wasn't even, it was like half jokes, but he was like, it was, yeah, no.
After there was nothing funny about it. There was no intent to be funny. I was disgusted by the shit.
I think that his tweet, when I look at it, I go, I would not have said that. But Ari is consistent with that bit that he does, where when somebody dies, he says the most fucked up thing he can say about the person.
Comedians were torn because they love Ari and want to defend free speech in comedy, but also understand that this tweet was not a joke, it wasn't funny, and it was definitely bad timing. Just 2 days after Ari posted his controversial tweets, he had a scheduled performance in New York City at the Kips Bay venue. Once Kobe fans discovered this, they began threatening the venue, leading the club to cancel his performance. The venue even filed an aggravated harassment report with the police due to the seriousness of the threats. In response to his show being forcibly canceled, Shaffir made a post to his Instagram claiming that it was just a joke, trying to justify this as harmless trolling. He pointed back to his history of making crude comments about recently passed celebrities. Every time a beloved
only one of us is wearing $12 worth of jewelry.
celebrity dies, I post some horrible stuff about them. I've been doing it for years now.
Shit.
I like destroying gods. Famous person dies, they're at their most worshipped. Even though he released this half apology on Instagram, Ari was still dropped by his talent agency.
Damn.
Yet still to this day, Ari Shaffir is not sorry.
That you do not regret your whatever it was, a tweet or a story or something about Kobe.
You gotta be true to your fucking stand-up, man.
I mean, dude, it's insane.
I see all these people whenever some celebrity dies, they're like wrenching their fucking clothes publicly, making it about themselves, and it's always nauseating to me.
The situation did momentarily thwart his career, but then it helped him. While the pandemic was in full effect, comedians were being criticized and canceled seemingly every week for their edgy jokes that people on the internet did not approve of. However, this started an uprising of free speech defenders who wanted to show their support for comedians. As the world became more politically correct, the demand for edgy and unhinged comedy became stronger than the Skankfest comedy tour. Skankfest was like one of those rock star fantasy camps for comedians. We were surrounded by some of the best and darkest comics and the fans that love them. Ari Shaffir is one of the most famous acts who has continuously headlined Skankfest since 2016, and the fans encourage him to be as disturbing as possible.
Every comedian gets a huge pop when they walk out on stage. The fans are so eager to hear good jokes all day. It's insane. Especially because every single person within a 10-mile radius of this festival is either on drugs, looking for drugs, aggressively binge drinking,
Hold on, what did I miss? I go back. I missed something.
Unhinged comedy became stronger than ever, which birthed the speech defenders who wanted to show their support for comedians. As the world became more politically correct, the demand for edgy and unhinged comedy became stronger than ever, which birthed the Skankfest comedy tour. Skankfest was like one of those rock star fantasy camps for comedians. We were surrounded by some of the best and darkest comics and the fans that love them. Ari Shaffir is one of the most famous acts who has continuously headlined Skankfest since 2016, and the fans encourage him to be as disturbing as possible.
Every comedian gets a huge pop when they walk out on stage. The fans are so eager to hear good jokes all day. It's insane, especially because every single person within a 10-mile radius.
Yeah, I've been going back and watching some of the Skankfest footage, dude, and they be wild, and it's hilarious. It's true comedy, bro. It's true comedy, bro. Ain't no bars holding true comedy, man.
This festival is either on drugs, looking
Little
for
less
drugs,
volatility
aggressively
1000X?
binge drinking, deathly hungover, or
Yeah,
a combination
slightly
of
less.
those 4 options.
Is
Including
it
the
worth it though?
comedians.
Would you say is it
Clear
worth
that
it?
Skankfest is the perfect home for Ari Shaffir, who has been very open about his love for experimenting with drugs. In fact, one of his favorite things to do is give other people drugs without their consent, as he has
Bert
openly
Kreischer.
admitted to doing it multiple times. If
Multiple?
you've seen my video about Bert Kreischer, you know Ari is no stranger to dosing people or spiking their drinks with drugs without them knowing. Just as a quick recap, one night Bert invited his good friend and fellow comedian Ari Shaffir over to his house to do
Man, Patrick said, I'm running out of rappers. Comedians. EC.
a podcast. Ari shook Bert's 13 and 15-year-old daughter's hands, walked into the podcast room where they were going to share some drinks. Ari decided to secretly slip a capsule of MDMA, aka Molly, into Bert's drink without him knowing, to which Bert had a terrible experience on the drug. Bert, as well as many of his comedy peers, told Ari that what he did was reckless and genuinely concerning. But others, such as Joe Rogan and Nikki Glazer, thought it was hilarious. But this wasn't the first nor the last time Ari would admit to committing this crime.
But that's not the only time you dose somebody, though.
No, it's been a few times.
Been a few
But I'm
times.
actually really good at dosing. I've just had a couple like overboards, but really everybody had a good time. I'll stand by it. No one really had a bad time on it. Just got to share it with your girlfriend or wife afterwards. They get pissed.
But it's even worse when you see him do it with your own eyes. During an appearance on the Legion of Skanks live podcast alongside Shane Gillis, Dan Soder, Luis Gomez, and Big J Okerson, Luis Gomez hatched a plan to dose Ari's drink at the start of the show and revealed to him later on that this was a prank.
I gave it to my employee. I was like, make sure this gets in Ari Shaffir's beer. Okay, just put a tab of acid in his beer. Now, I f***ed up and I told Shane, thinking that Shane, you know, look, I get that he's on Team Ari, but at the same time, it's pretty goddamn funny to dose Ari Shaffir with acid on Legion of Skanks.
Yeah.
Let us just do it.
All right.
Let us do I assumed that Shane would just let it happen because that is the absolute funniest scenario.
Ari soon found out about Luis Gomez's plan, and instead of pouring the drink out, he decided to slide the drug drink to fellow comedian Big J Okerson. You might be thinking Ari was just getting someone back for drugging him.
If someone, if you knew someone did it to you and you pull a switcheroo, that's on them. That's on
But
them.
what Ari did was dose someone who suffers from anxiety and does not
Oh.
take acid. And as you can imagine, Big J wasn't very happy about the situation. Many of the diehard comedy fans see Ari as a beacon of hope and an
Hey, you play stupid games. You play stupid games. You get stupid prizes. What have we learned today?
overly sensitive PC society, a man who is unafraid to push the boundaries of comedy. They don't take what he says on podcasts seriously because he is simply just joking. Others see him as a self-admitted criminal, potential predator, and borderline psychopath who excuses his suspicious behavior.
You know that child
as
shit?
just
That's
jokes.
a
But Ari is not the only
it's an
successful
issue.
comedian whose behavior is destroying them. Bert Kreischer is on the same path of self-destruction, but in a totally different way. Check that video out next.
Another motherfucking Patrick CCW. Well, shit. I learned some things I didn't know about Ari Shaffir, and I don't think I like him as much anymore. Basically, one specific thing. It was that kid shit. No, we don't play with that here. It is, it's an issue. Let me know what y'all thought about it.